So, despite the fact that during our session, my client told me, I mean, I can't remember her exact words, but something like, wow, you're such an awesome coach, or you're amazing, something, some really great feedback that I was getting. Despite that fact, after our session, um, I felt like, this was a practice session for my coaching program, but it felt like if she had been paying me, I wouldn't have been giving her her money's worth or something like that. These feelings of self-doubt and whatnot that often come up for me while I'm going through this program. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, okay, this particular client is an external processor, which means that she's processing as she's speaking. She's doing it out loud, and I understand this because this is how I am personally. I think I annoy my wife sometimes because I'm constantly just saying, I had this thought, and this is my whole point, is that, like, I I can have a thought, but in order for me to, like, fully think it out, I have to speak it out loud. I have to say it to someone. And so often I'm not looking for her to say anything back to me other than I hear you. Um, but it's still really useful for me to speak things out loud because it allows me to process them and fully think them through. So, being that this client is just like me in that way, it it helped me realize, like, okay, I'm not failing her because I'm not asking a million questions or, like, driving some direction, as a coach should never be doing. um, or even just speaking less than I think that I should. I think what occurred to me is that because she's like that, I'm just not going to talk much. I'm not going to ask many questions. I'm not going to be saying a whole lot in sessions like that. And that's okay. That's actually what she needs. For me to be interrupting her processing, or or just asking questions for the sake of asking questions is not helpful. It's not what she needs. And so I found myself listening a lot, reflecting a lot, doing more acknowledging and validating than I feel like I've done in my past sessions. And she ended up coming to her own solutions and her own reasons for what's going on and whatnot. And she came up with a really beautiful analogy, and that helped me. So I felt like I got value out of the session, just from hearing something that we're both going through, and how she processed it and whatnot. So again, as I mentioned originally, by her own account, I did a great job and I did exactly what was needed for that session. And so the purpose of this video really is to remind myself and potentially you, if you have a client that is an external processor, then sometimes the best thing you can do is listen, validate, reflect, and essentially give them space to come to their own conclusions and their own answers. Hope that helps.